现在我们在讲华语吧，
好，
所以
可以。
很幸会来到 Gerald 的节目。No, I'm sorry. That's all I can do.
Welcome to the Wild and Wise podcast. We are a podcast about reinvention, and today we have Hunn in the studio with us. So Hunn is a Singaporean designer, curator, and co-founder of Hunn Wai, known for bridging Eastern and Western designs through storytelling, craft, and social impact. Hunn, Singaporean, educated in Singapore and also in Eindhoven. And his journey spans across winning product designs, inclusive of healthcare innovations, digital explorations, right? Like NFTs, and most recently co-curating Future Impact 3 at Milan Design Week. Super cool. I'm making a kind of a full circle back to his early scholarship days, and his work reflects a lifelong practice of reinvention across continents, disciplines, and cultural narratives. A phenomenal background, which is why we wanted Hunn to be here with us today, because I'm sure he has great nuggets to share about reinvention, his learnings, the life story. So, Hunn, welcome to the podcast, man.
Oh, thank you for having me, Gerald.
It's really, really cool to have you here. So, before we start, maybe just tell us a little bit about who you are beyond your work, because you're already available and seen across the various platforms, media and all that. How would you introduce yourself? Not just really about your titles, achievements, but the person you are and you're becoming these days.
I like the word becoming a lot. Yeah. I'll come back to that. So maybe I can start with funny social interaction story. Well, sometimes I do go for social events for like brands or restaurants, that kind of thing. And then one of the guests asked me like, what kind of man are you? Then I was like, wow. What do you mean, what kind of man are you? Are you like a car man? Are you like a watch man? Are you like a hi-fi man? Whatever, like that kind of thing, categorized by your lifestyle and consumer pursuits. Then I said like, I thought for a while and I told her like, I'm a curious man.
You're a curious man?
Yeah, I'm curious about everything. Yeah. And I'm very happy to be able to have curiosity as my main operation for life.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how I introduced myself. I thought that was quite a nice way to think about myself, a curious man. I guess I'm also someone who likes to know how things work. And I think this is something that has been going on since I was a kid up till now. For me, curiosity is the main point also because I think it's the number one strategy against ambiguity.
Yes.
Right? Because ambiguity, either you can fear it and like maybe label it, ostracize it, don't unpack it until it becomes something strange and festering. Or you could have curiosity, then suddenly everything opens up and pathways and light starts to shine. I think that's how I like to introduce myself.
Nice. Yeah. A curious man.
A curious man.
A curious man. And I also believe in the fact about leading with curiosity, right? I think that's a very powerful thing. I said this earlier in a couple of podcasts before, is curiosity opens doors and judgment, closes doors. Yeah. So it's a great way to lean in. I totally can resonate with that. Well, you're talking about lightness, presence. I'm very curious, let's tell us a little bit about Hunn as a boy growing up,
Yeah, maybe you can set the stage a bit, because I'm also quite interested in like the psychology of things. Like there is a certain parental pattern that happens if you're the firstborn child versus the secondborn or thirdborn. Yeah. Right. So just to give you context, I'm the eldest son. I have a younger sister below me. I was born in London, ex-Malaysian, and then my family settled here when I was maybe 2 or 3 years old. Right. So I don't know where to place myself. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, everyone keep asking me, when they know that I'm born in London, do you have a British citizenship? I said, no, because my dad didn't work enough years there to pay tax and qualify for that. So and so forth, right? I said, no. But I said, are you Malaysian? I said, no, but I have fond memories of Malaysia growing up and Singapore has a lot of ties with Malaysia and Singaporean as well. So I have always kind of like an insider but also outsider modality to deal with my Singaporean identity. So this kind of just give context. Yeah. As a kid, I guess growing up, I was always very curious, like very observant, very curious, quiet. In fact, not like this now, definitely not this mode of Hunn Wai right now, but definitely quiet and observant, and also I wouldn't say mischievous, because I think anyone who is curious and some want to test the limit of things, as you should. Yeah, I'm asking a lot of like, why like that? And to answer that, I think my mom gifted me and my sis a very healthy habit, which is going to the library.
That's awesome.
right?
Yeah.
So we always found ourselves at Queenstown Library. So the ritual is Queenstown Library, borrow or return the previous book, right? And it's always about something maybe like how things work,
Yeah.
right? Or like science books, or like graphical novels like Tintin and all that.
Yes.
Right. So, and after that, it'd be like chicken rice at the famous chicken rice at Queenstown Hawker Center. So I think that built the habit of knowing more than just our geographical or like cultural borders. I remember also quite a rich inner life.
Nice.
Like very imaginative child. And I would like rearrange furniture in my bedroom to make it into like a spaceship, like
Wow.
like play
Yeah.
right? Or like the toy boxes from my toys, I will make it into like the small. I wouldn't call it architectural model because it's definitely not architectural model. Like a little play set for like the He-Mans and the Transformers to kind of like dwell and that can live with my sister's Barbies and things like that lah. So a lot of imagination and pushing it into space lah. And also I think I wanted to be a car designer.
A car designer.
Yeah, I don't know which kid does that, but for me I was heavily interested in Matchbox cars and so I was like, I'd like to be a car designer. Yeah.
Awesome. So was there particular moment or upbringing in your childhood or maybe early teenage years that it kind of shaped you, like something that really kind of got you thinking on a shift in the way you were thinking, a big lesson perhaps, anything as you were growing up?
Yeah, I guess the first one would be my parents always brought me and my sister to like, it was a thing back in the day in the 80s, so 80s.
Okay.
Art competitions at the zoo or Jerome Bird Park or Botanic Gardens, it's really quite sweet now I think about it.
Yes.
Nostalgic about it. Every Sunday, my parents would just bring me there and then we'd just draw in crayons.
Yeah.
Like what you see at the zoo, like could be elephant, could be flowers, so on and so forth, right? And I think that was something that kind of embedded an identity of like, I'm creative. And my parents always say, like, yeah, it seems that you are gifted at this. And they never actually told me not to pursue creativity, which I think was not really a common trope.
Yes.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
Right? A bit more pragmatic kind of parenting styles, just out of the intention of love, obviously. So that was one. So kind of installed like art and creativity as my core identity since I was maybe 5, 6, 7 years
Amazing.
old. Right? I did really well art in school. Like art was my favorite subject. Maths was also my very favorite subject. Science was my favorite subject. So everything, I think to anyone who's curious, there's no border between subjects. It's just good to know how the world works through all these different angles.
Yeah.
Right. So always quite curious. And then I think the next thing was in Sec 2 when I was 14.
Yeah.
Because they kind of say like who you are is quite formed up by what you go through in life in your teenage years, because hormones and growth and your brain, so there's some science behind that as well. So I'm always quite grateful to my Sec 2 lit teacher who said like, hey guys, actually, as long as you want to be a lawyer, artist, engineer, banker, accountant, whatever you want, as long as you feel for it, you'll be good at it. Nothing is stopping you.
Yeah.
That was something that I think was very beneficial and encouraging to hear from a Sec 2 teacher, a passionate young boy. So like kind of the educator gave us permission to become right. So I thought that was very powerful to hear and very, very thankful for the teacher. So I think that's something that I try to carry with me and push into my educating practice as well. Yeah. So that's number 2. And then finally number 3, when I was 21, year 1 NUS design. Design is not a cheap course because you need to make models. It's not just like writing notes and stuff. You have to like buy
a lot of stuff,
materials, and materials are not cheap if you've been an art friend at Brass Basa, that kind of thing. So my allowance didn't quite cover it, so I had to go and work on the weekends.
Nice. Yeah.
And obviously one of my classmates, he's like a hustler. Hey bro, I have this part-time job thing as a salesperson to sell Siemens Mobile.
Yeah.
Right. And at that time in 2001, right, Nokia was king lah.
Yeah.
Right? Samsung was coming out, right? But Nokia was absolute
total king,
dominator of the market, right?
Yeah.
I have a basic salary over the weekends, and I was always at Tampines Mall, Sahab. So shout out Tampines Mall, Sahab. Or Century Square, M1.
Century Square, oh my gosh.
Century Square, M1.
Yeah,
right,
I totally remember those
Not sure it's still
places.
around. It would be nice to go down.
Yeah.
So I had a basic pay, obviously. I think of like $10 an hour, which was pretty good, healthy back in the day.
Actually, yeah.
Right. So if I work for 8 hours, $80 already.
$80, yo.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Not bad.
And then a commission linked to it. So if I wanted to earn more, I had to sell. Right. And I think that experience really helped me to open up, to really begin to understand and apply empathy.
Yeah.
To understand people like from the back end, like which phone is on offer this weekend.
Yeah.
Right. Could be the more budget one, or is it the medium one, or is it the more S-class, the more fully featured one, right?
Yeah.
Then I thought like, obviously, I can move the cheaper more, because with the StarHub thing, it's like $38 only for a 2-year contract. My goodness, right? So I just whacked that. So I had to kind of rewrite or like on the fly kind of write my selling pitch.
Yeah.
So if it's like more elderly lady, you're like, auntie, you see, if you press number 1, you press hold, right? You can program it such that you call your son straight away. So, really? So, yeah, Nokia don't have, but I think Nokia got but somewhere buried in the deep menu. But I will sell this stuff, so I will contextualize my sales pitch to
love it.
person in front of me, right? And I think that time, because I did win things like best salesperson of the month, because I sold the most phones, or like I was making like 2K a month.
It's pretty good, man.
Just working weekends, 8 days a month, 2K back in 2001.
Yeah.
And that funded my exchange program and things down the road. But I guess that kind of helped me open up to like, hey, actually, Hunn, you are quite an astute thinker and communicator, and has a certain craft with words.
Yeah.
So those were the three.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Your 3 stories, like the 3 moments. Well, thanks for sharing. Like you definitely come across as like a very sharp thinker, a very, very deep thinker. I mean, I also know you and over a couple of catch-ups, like you are a very deep thinker and very deep in terms of the way you apply your thinking. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's how I've observed, and through your interaction and through your work. I mean, obviously through the work that you've done, in the recent years, or even throughout your career, it does shine through, which is.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Does it resonate when you kind of share that? Like,
Yeah, it is. I mean, it does link into the narrative is king aspect of how I see life, but also how I see my work. Or even how I teach. So
yes.
Narrative is key.
Yeah. I think that the previous podcast we were talking about, like, you tell yourself stories and you end up believing those stories, right? It's the stories that you tell yourself. And exactly. I mean, as a kid growing up, I came from a single parent family. People think I'm a very bubbly kid. Like I had a lot of, I wasn't always confident. I had a lot of like doubts, and I say this many times on all the podcasts. Also, it's like I always feel like people are judging, how I appear and all that. Just because I don't know. It's just me as I grew up. But as I got older, obviously that changed a little bit, right? So
thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I think stories in a life context is extremely powerful, because it could be your story about love, story about whether you deserve to be loved or how you want to love, right? And, like, who do you inherit these stories from?
Yeah.
Right? Or even like stories about you and money, or you and success, or you and happiness, or you and fulfillment. I mean, these are all stories that I think it's worthwhile to sit down to really map out in a bare bones way. And then we see like, hey, I've been thinking that way, but actually I don't have to. Or you start hearing other people's definitions. So I'm also quite keen on collecting definitions of happiness, definitions of fulfillment, definitions of success, or definitions of money and things like that. So I'm quite keen, because stories are basically choreography of meaning and definitions.
Yes. Yeah. And I was listening to another podcast. It was like the psychology of finance, right? But if you think about it, it's actually how a person's narrative is that evolves and therefore makes decisions in his or her life. When it comes to finances, or choosing a partner, and all these little things.
Absolutely.
And it's a journey. I mean, no one grows up and say, "Oh, I finally found all the answers," right? But is that the deep psychology of foundational beliefs and stories that translates into actions in adulthood, like how you spend money or how you invest money and all that kind of thing.
Maybe if you can indulge me a bit further.
Sure,
I do have a theory around like story as life operating system.
Yeah.
Right. So on one hand, like I do see myself as a device. I mean, we all are devices. I mean, something current. I mean, use whatever analogy you want. But I think your OS can always update it, right? Like suddenly, like my camera update with the latest OS, and suddenly you can take this kind of photos because it updated the firmware.
Yeah.
For example, right? So why not apply it to yourself? Like which parts of me are kind of like it worked for that season of life or chapter of life, but now I don't need it anymore. So I can update the app itself, like the money app or the love app, right? Or the communication app or the mother and son app or the father and son app.
Yeah.
Or the husband and wife app. I mean, these things can always be updated. And I think that's where it kind of is fun because you kind of get to tinker.
Yeah.
It's like you get to go into your own garage. I mean, Singapore not a garage, but everyone knows what a garage culture is. But in our minds, we have infinite space, right? So imagine you have a garage in your head and you can actually tinker with that. Like, hey, what if today I didn't tell that to myself?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one. And then number two is like, you must think, not necessarily you must, but try to think like your life is like Hunn verse or like a Gerald verse.
Yo, that's really cool. I never.
You know what I'm saying? Like certain things are expressed in certain ways in like MCU, for example, or like DCU, right? I mean, Superman exists in kind of both stories. Batman kind of exists in both universes, but in different expressions. Or like Lord of the Rings, so and so forth, right? So it depends. It's quite a beautiful and functional way to think about life, and for me, quite powerful to install as part of your life framework. Yeah. Because then you must think about like, okay, I want to be this character. Yes. Because before you can actually have habits or stick onto you have to identify with the person you want to become, right? So my thesis is, then what kind of Hunniverse do you want to have, right? Like you're writing your own comic strip, you're writing your own story. So then therefore what props do I have? Like if it's Luke Skywalker, it's a lightsaber thing, right? That's the main prop. Or in Lord of the Rings, it's the ring, right? So what is MacGuffin, right? Okay. What is that MacGuffin for me? Is it a ritual like running? Is it like teaching needs to be installed? Like it needs to be part of my thing, so I can have a good way of life. Yeah. So try to think about that, like everyone's familiar with MCU. So what is your universe? Look like?
Yeah. It's interesting. As you were talking about it, I was like thinking, hey, if my entire mind ecosystem, the G's ecosystem or the Hunn's ecosystem or whoever's ecosystem is like, you have your phone and then there's a system running behind it. And then components of your life are like apps. Yeah. Within, And it's like, hey, it's not update. I need to update this financial piece because I think it's time to get going on that space.
Yeah, I mean, like another analogy is like open world role-playing game. Yes. Like could be like Final Fantasy. Yeah, so cool. Or whichever game that you resonate with. And like you got different skill trees, right? Yeah. And sometimes you're very OP in some skill trees. Maybe your money management is like super awesome already. Like you reach like S tier already. But maybe the way that you speak to yourself is not S tier yet. Maybe you're still beginner level and you need to work on that, right? Yeah. So therefore it's like it's not so much to say that you're inadequate, but more like there's so much skill tree to still develop, and each one is its own like mini game. Yeah. Of course, there's the main game that you can't set it yourself. Yeah. And it should be your game and not society tell you like this is the way to play the game.
So important.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, it's one way to play the game. Yes. Like Minecraft has one way to kill the Ender Dragon. I mean, for those who play Minecraft, I love Minecraft. But it's also about the side quest, right? And the side quest is for me as important as the main quest. Yes. Right? Because it brings me joy and I learn something about myself or I impact others. Yeah. So I think that's how I kind of see life as a game to become. And I don't know where it's going to go. I enjoy being here, for example. I'm getting to do this. I get to do this versus I have to do this. I get to do this. Yes. So I'm grateful.
Just the framing, right? The framing of mind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I always say that the couple of cameras here, and sometimes this camera gives you one angle, but the camera gives you another angle. Yeah. So actually, it's just how if you take yourself away from the typical camera that you are looking yourself in and have another angle, actually, you might unlock perspectives. Yeah.
I mean, it could be a first-person thing, it could be a second-person thing, even a third-person thing. I mean, you could be... When you play a game, you can from behind, right?
You can see more things,
Right, like sometimes you're in a situation that is like quite familiar. Sometimes it's just also quite nice to just park yourself somewhere up there, like your camera views up here. Yeah. And it's like, see how Hunn or Gerald goes. It's quite fun. Like it's automatics, right?
Yeah. And then and all of that kind of goes into taking time to understand, reflect, checkpoints. Is that something that you do? Because like you are very reflective, you tell these stories, right? I do that as a younger kid, not so much. I just kind of plow through life. I just go with the flow. I'm a kind of guy also. But obviously, as you kind of get older, you get wiser, a bit wiser. Not necessarily...
Not quite the exclusive things.
Certain things. But is that something that you actually do regularly or like where I feel like it?
Quite introspective. Like I said, I think that quiet kid never went away. He's still there.
Yeah.
And I love him a lot. He's great. I want to hug him every day.
That's so good.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, hug your inner child now.
Hug your inner child now, okay. Wow. This camera, yeah.
Hug your inner child now, because love him, her, they, so on and so forth, right? I think I had to give space for introspection because you're right. I think there is a learning curve when you're growing up,
Yes.
right? And maybe at some point you can afford to be a bit more I'm not sure. Some people don't afford themselves that space as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I afforded myself that space maybe when I was 35, when I kind of hit my targets and goals in professional life, and I'm not happy. What's up with that?
Yeah. No, I was just sharing that story earlier.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be done. Like mission accomplished. Yeah, championship won. Yeah. That kind of thing. But I wasn't. So I think that started that's my journey 10 years ago to kind of unpack this. And now I do give space. I do not answer to messages straight away. I turn off all my notifications. I've been observing what takes my attention away.
Yes.
Right? Because at the end of the day, I didn't manage to do the things that I wanted to do. They were important because I was just put on a short leash.
Yes.
Something must answer. I kind of question that modality. I mean, it's not overnight thing. It took time to switch behavioral patterns, obviously.
Yes.
But these days, when on your iPhone, right, you could set work mode, then all notifications are silenced. People try to get to me on Telegram and WhatsApp. I look at it, but I do not answer straight away. Right. Yeah. And I learned this from some very, very high position functioning friends. Yes. Because it's hey bro, I won't be able to answer your messages in 3 hours because I'm going to deep dive into work now. It's never knew you could do that. Right. I love these things that I can learn from my friends. Yes. So I had to give space for myself, try to reclaim my attention. That's number one. Then automatically you have time to kind of did I say that to my wife in the morning in the best way? How did that make me feel? How do I improve? Right? You have space suddenly to consider these things versus going to automatics.
Correct.
And tropes. Yeah. I really don't like tropes. Yeah. It's you're going out with us tonight. Your wife got give you off pass, and I was like, I don't like tropes like that. I mean, come on.
Same here, man.
Right. Yeah. And so that's one. Then number two, 3 years ago, I was quite burnt out. I was quite burnt out.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the income was good. Goals were being hit. And just enough, cannot. So I set myself a challenge. How might I have a better quality of life with more time for myself, make more money? Something like that. I mean, that's a very, very basic animal monkey brain kind of ask, Yeah. So I basically cut down my attention to work by 40%. So I only applied 60% of myself. And then I realized my conversion rate is actually my 60% is a lot of people's 100%.
Yeah.
Right? Then hey, Siala, you know me, I can get away with being present for work for 60%. So nice. And
yes.
The things still work. I said how much do I not have to care about work that until things fall apart?
Yes, right.
Or care about whatever I'm busy with until things fall apart. I realize it's around 50-60%. Then suddenly hey, actually 40% of my time I can not use it to be occupied or busy with things that clog me out, like work or searching for partners. So that again, that also kind of made me more conscious about my health, mental health, financial health, business health, relationship health, right? And suddenly that, because of 40% is a lot of time to reclaim. So I could use that instead for that.
Yeah.
And that's where you get this deep intentional thinking from.
I love that, and it basically what you're sharing is, it sounds like just being very purposeful with your time and energy, right? And I do that too. Essentially, do not be tucked away when someone messages you. It's just really protecting your time and energy so that you're able to constantly think about optimizing yourself and what you bring to others.
I also want to kind of do a foil against that, because I think you can also get obsessed about optimization, about being mindful. You begin to kind of judge yourself, am I not being mindful now, man? That kind of thing, right? Yeah. But I'm also a huge believer of, I love stoicism. Yeah. And sometimes I just I don't need to care about things all the time. Yeah. I don't need to think about whether this is productive at the moment. Yeah. I think there's just some saying, I can't remember who said it, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted, right? So, like really, who cares what you're doing at any moment in time? Like I said, the 40% of my time, I don't use that just for like, well, let's go, Optimus Prime kind of Optimus thing. But I also like fell back in love with like playing games on PlayStation.
Totally.
I could explore like, oh yeah, I've not checked out that old music album for a long time. Let's just sit down, listen to music for real versus just like background music.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, now I'm on the bus or on the train or plane, I plug in music to kind of give it BGM, background music kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, but being really present for the thing and to just enjoy things as they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important also, not to be obsessed with
optimization.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And I personally do it. I optimize my time so I got space to do nothing.
Yeah.
I have
Nothing
to do
is
that.
great.
I need that. If I don't have space to do nothing, right? I just don't feel balanced. I always have time on my calendar. Like I just block off.
Yeah.
Nothing.
If someone wants to hear like the functional aspect of doing nothing, it's really like your subconscious is still working. Guys, okay, you have a subconscious, right? So actually you need to do nothing so that the subconscious can do its work, so that whatever needs the golden things, the golden notes can percolate up to the surface. Yeah. That's why you always have your best ideas in the shower or when you're in the toilet or on a plane kind of thing, although now quite hard because got Wi-Fi already. When you're in a bubble of no one's asking for your attention, that's when the best things come out. So you want to think about it in a functional way. Nothing time is very functional as well.
Yeah. No, totally, man. I totally can relate to that. It's so critical having that just time to reflect.
Yeah.
And then see where your mind goes and then
like what was the best thing that happened to me today? Oh, that bak chor mee was not bad, right? Or the way that student said thank you, prof. Wow, that was like my student got it. I mean, it's not like someone gave me cash or something equitable or but it's just noticing that there are so many gifts that you receive in a day, and it's so important to make time to know that you've received gifts.
Yes. So be grateful, be present.
Yes.
Just kind of go back to your fundamentals. The stories you just told is very anchored in those fundamentals that you kind of shared.
Sorry, this looks like I'm...
Take a sip
of water. Right? This looks like I'm doing our dear Lee Hsien Loong Cup thing.
I'm going to speak in a different language after that.
现在我们在讲华语吧。
好，可以。
很幸会来到 Gerald 的节目。No, I'm sorry. I that's all I can do.
真的吗？我要继续用中文讲吗？可以吗？ So so what's anything that you felt that you had to unlearn to become the person you are today? Is there like one thing that you felt that you had to unlearn to become you are today?
I think the main thing that I unlearned was to not look at career success as my self-worth.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think, okay, but maybe there's a caveat a bit because I am not of the corporate route. I have my own business since I graduated from my master's. So when I was 29, 30, I set up my own business. Right, because I want to push my own ideas in design and starting a studio was the only way to do it. So actually my master's made me unemployable, which is great. I had to employ myself.
Yes.
Right. So there's a good bit of context to that. So from early on, I had to define like what success meant to me already. In my world, in the furniture design world, in the design world, I think in magazines we show like Philip Stark, designer, new chairs, or like Milan at a party, table, or like new project in Milan or in Paris, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that was kind of my picture of what success looked like, and also getting acclaim, like being acclaimed by maybe showing at museums in Milan, in Rome, in New York, right? Those were things that in my ecosystem at that time informed me, or like selling your chair for $20,000 to Brad Pitt at Design Miami. Something like that. So that's the world that I dwell in, where how we equate talent and effort and professional practice into accomplishment. All right, just to kind of help the audience kind of frame it a bit. Yeah. So we did achieve that when I was set up the business in 30 years old. I think by 32, 33, we had hit 80% of the targets.
Amazing.
In terms of that, it went really well. And looking back, I'm really appreciative of it. But I think as we were doing it, we were always hungry about the next thing, because it's like, okay, after show in Milan, what's next? Oh, must show in Paris now. Okay, after Paris, must show where? Basel. And then after work with this company, must work with which company to produce our furniture and lighting and things like that. Like which platform or with who must I know? I'm sure everyone is familiar with that chase in your own industry. So for me, that was how it looked like. Like I said, when I was 35, kind of. It's not really a midlife crisis because I don't expect to live until 70, but more like a 5 5 years after starting the practice, even personally, where's this all going? I'm tired, and my relationships kind of suck. The bad time, it's just like start scratching away at that. Then I had a mentor who helped me to unpack, like who could see that my self-worth was tattered, to what I was achieving, either socially, because obviously after you have achieved like career success, then you want to talk about like social success, what's your standing in society, whether you're like cool or not, that kind of thing, kind of satisfying the ego kind of thing, which is fair because that's your Maslow hierarchy kind of climbing the ladder of self-awareness and self-actualization. So that was the number one thing that I unlearned, right? Actually, the work got better, my happiness got better, because I think in my industry, because we are the design, we're the creator, we're the things that actually make something that is in my head or as a dream, as a vision, into something real, right? Like a chair or a new product, like even the iPhone at some point was a dream, right?
Yeah.
So that benefited in a way my creative, because in my industry, the one who's creating is key to the quality of the process and also the product. So when I began to like kind of unpack that, learn more about myself, take care of myself better, that's when I actually began to enjoy my practice and to enjoy myself.
Yeah. So the tetherness or the ties to career success, right? And then, what got you out of that? Was that like a phrase, a quote, a mindset? What was it like you want to tell,
question.
like, hey, yeah, this is like, what was it? Like, what was it?
No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was so like binary in that sense. It wasn't like on-off switch kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it started with, how come I'm not happy yet?
Happiness. Yeah.
Yeah. How come I'm not satisfied yet? Right. So I started to go down the path of understanding the definitions of satisfaction, the mechanisms of satisfaction, how to think about satisfaction. Kind of have those questions floating around. And I think when you begin to prompt the universe at large, suddenly you're equipped with lenses as you operate through daily life. So for example, the lens of satisfaction, because I do travel for work to go to our manufacturing partners like Indonesia or China and things like that, right? So we go to like Indonesia, outskirts of Jakarta, for furniture manufacturing. Obviously, there'll be not just about the work, but I will also be there as like kind of like a anthropologist, just looking at like how people live their lives. Here am I having my nice little lunch in the aircon meeting room of the factory. Oh yeah, this nasi padang, wow, sedap, that kind of thing. And then I'll just look out the window and I would see like them eating by the roadside kind of thing, with smiles on their faces, not to kind of like flatten everything, but at that moment in my head, kind of clicked in my head like, wow, also can be happy. Also can be satisfied. Then I'm thinking like, I'm such a blessed Singaporean with my education and like this and that and so and so and so and so forth, this kind of standing society. I'm not happy. Like how, like in my head, like how dare I not be satisfied with my life? Like kind of thing. So I think that kind of started my pursuit of understanding how did enough look like. And that led me down the paths of like reading books about it, or I think that's the great thing about not only like the algorithm of the universe, but algorithm of your feed. As you begin to prompt these things, Google will learn these things and start to push up. Then somehow you become a better person because you're asking, not better person lah, but you become a deeper version of yourself because of it. Yeah. So back to your question, it's not one thing, but I'm still ongoing. But I think number one is to ask like what does enough look like lah? The world right now makes everything seem boundless, and like everyone should have a nice car, or I mean, depending on what algo you're locked into lah, right? Like that you kind of compare yourself to. What does enough look like in terms of friendship, relationship, food, diet, exercise, money, right? Let's talk about money. Like how much money do you need to make every month? Okay, because that will affect how much financial burden you need to answer to. Right? How you earn money is basically exchanging for your own time, right? Time, and you're going through your talent machine, who you are, value to marketplace kind of thing, that becomes money, right? And then money, what you spend on to. So like, what is enough money? I mean, understand your budget lah. Maybe you just need 5K a month to be happy. You never know. Then suddenly, maybe you're making 7, 8, 10 a month. Then suddenly you got 5K more. Or even test things like, what is my lowest limit for having a good time? Like, challenge yourself. Like, can I not spend money today and enjoy myself still? Can I just sit in the park and just look at things? And just see whether I can enjoy myself or not, right? I think it's about calibrating dollars and cents to the qualia of experience that you're having, right? So it can be food, it can be good time with your spouse or your partner, with your friends, right? If there's too much pressure from, staying on topic of money for discussion's sake, if you feel that you're beholden, that you need to spend X amount just to have a good time, then I think you're also kind of pricing yourself out of happiness. Right? Like, isn't that strange? Like, why can't I get joy out of eating my, how much char kway teow cost these days? Maybe like $3-4 char kway teow. But I should also be able to enjoy like my $400, $500, $600, $1,000 omakase Michelin star thing, right? Versus I can only enjoy myself if I spend $500 a meal, right? Because as you grow older, you become more valuable to the marketplace, you earn more disposable income. So do you want to have lifestyle inflation? And then you're always on that, you know what a lot of my friends and maybe even popular media calls like golden handcuffs, then you're like, you have to do that work because you don't know that there can be joy beneath $500, for example, So I think if you begin to kind of like widen the bandwidth of value and its appreciation, then you begin to know like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
So it's gratitude, it's appreciation, it's being aware of what you're gifted with. It's knowing that, yeah, this is nice. I'm drinking out from this cup. Of course, certain drinks must be drunk from certain glasses. I'm not saying that like beer, preferably out of a bottle or a glass, or like whiskey in a paper cup. Not really. Of course, there's certain standards to be kept, but I'm just saying that even then, getting a whiskey in a paper cup is awesome. and that when you have enough, then everything else actually becomes like a bonus. And isn't that nice? Like every day you feel like, wow, actually today I got bonus. And isn't that such a beautiful and light and delightful way to live life? Yeah.
Very light. Very light.
Yeah. But also to caveat, you must know what is too much to know what's enough. Like, so for everyone, please go and push upper limit to know that I think I spent too much this month for that. Maybe unnecessary. You would know, right? So you have to know upper limits and know your lower limits. So test it as soon as possible, usually in your 30s. Hopefully don't test it. 40s still can, but try test it as soon as possible so that you know what's enough. And then when you know what's enough, you can leave a party at any moment's notice because I have enough interaction with people or I have enough to drink, or this meeting has enough of my attention. So if you don't know what's enough, then you're always at the beck and call, and it's quite a tough way to live life. So maybe think about that if that resonates with you. Yeah,
that's a great point. As I think about what you were sharing, it's really looking at like what are your anchors, right? What are your core values? What are your core baseline? When you have a anchor point of enough, for example, then hey, okay, your emotions, everything's very calibrated. You know what that means. So it's always a hunt, right? It's always a search. But I think it's important to think about reflecting of what you have, having the gratitude.
Just say what's in front of you. It's like, this is nice.
Yeah, this is nice.
This is nice. This is nice. This mic is nice.
I think this is nice.
This is nice. Gerald is looking great today. This is nice.
Thank you.
Like drinking the warm water I'm drinking is nice. So thanks JM for that. Yeah. So knowing enough also comes from exposure. Like I said, I had to travel quite a bit to see like how other people live their life, and I think that's very important to know yourself better as a person. So my number one tip, if you want to change your life, travel more. And I don't mean the Instagram, TikTok travel situation, but to really be in a place, maybe stay in Airbnb, see how people live, go supermarket. For me, supermarket is super interesting. How people live their everyday life, how people chill, and then that will kind of build up your library of definition of how to chill, or build up your library of definitions of how to relax, Like options, like there's a no spend money option, there's the go into nature option, there's the PlayStation game option, and observe, really, really observe, not just seeing through the lens of influencers or like the common pattern forming that you have in popular culture. Have an opinion for yourself. What's your view on this versus like, have I satisfied the view of someone that I follow on social media? Have some develop criticality. Ask why. I think it's, how come like that? I think how come like that is very interesting. Oh, that's why like that. Oh, and then that's why like that. It's a super fun game like Where's Wally, right? Like, oh, that's why like that. That's why the food served to me like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why this temperature. Oh, wow. So suddenly, whatever I'm being served, for example, a food or hamburger, like I appreciate there's so many more dimensions because, New Zealand, the beef is from here. Oh, this thing is made this way because it's made from corn instead of flour, corn flour instead of, or it's baked this way, So quite nerdy. And then you begin to like experience everything in like 8K, 4K resolution versus 360p. When you begin to understand how things work and the interconnectors, everything, then suddenly reality becomes very rich and blessed.
Totally, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really awesome perspective. And we're kind of going back to the lenses and all that also.
Yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit also, since we're on this topic of values and perspectives. You know, you are a adjunct associate professor. Did I get it right?
Adjunct associate professor, yes. That's what SUTD, yes.
Yeah.
Singapore University of Technology and Design.
Yeah, and you've been doing that for quite a while already.
7 years.
7 years, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to talk a little bit about your hat as an educator. We spoke about values and impact, also a little bit about perspectives. How would you describe this, right, when you kind of work with students? So what are your guiding philosophies as Hunn? As also adjunct associate professor, right? What are your philosophies when you work with students? Do you have any of these guiding principles and philosophies as an educator?
I think curiosity is the point again, because sometimes students might be a bit more asymmetrical, a bit obsessed with the grades, right? Or how things to reach success as soon as possible, which is fine because we are all leaning into wanting to solve things as much as possible, as fast as possible, right? And I think that's human. For sure. And learning things is painful, right? Because you literally have to grow new nerve branches in your brain. I mean, the more you learn, your brain is like, okay, now we have to have new neurons exist. So growth is painful in the emotional and physical and neurological sense. And that's something that I want to kind of create a safe environment for students, but also to kind of let them become who they are. Because I teach mainly the first year students. Like I said just now, I need to help them unlearn things. Either they're from A levels or diploma, whatever school. I mean, which was more like skills and demonstrating that you could achieve that resolution of skill kind of framework. Sure, totally understand.
Yeah.
So something that I always teach them is like, for example, week 1 of the course, like, say like we're gonna get comfortable with ambiguity, right? So I help them frame things beyond the curriculum. Curriculum is still there, but in my own way, I want to help them make sense of it in the greater framework of life. So say like every day you would face ambiguity, right? Like, do you know what you're eating for lunch tomorrow? You know, Thai fun ambiguity. Today, am I doing a Grab or suddenly got some emergency, pull me away, I need to eat something on the go. I try to give them lots of an analogy, like what I'm doing with you now, to explain certain first principles.
Yes.
And for me, what I help them understand is that what they're learning, design and innovation thinking, is not only for school or not only for after you graduate, you go and work in teams for innovation, that kind of thing, but it's also applicable to life. I try to make it a point to kind of install these things and make innovation relatable to their immediate environment. Like, I mean, professionally, my job is really to help people see things in a different way. Yes. Right? To perceive, like, how do you help to convey the brand messaging for this certain demographic, right? How to perceive, right? So I also want to help them understand that, hey, how to look at everyday life now or in the future through the lens of what they're learning in school. So to make things relatable. So that's one. And then number 2, also, like everything around this, you know, like this light or this mic, it existed as an idea at some point. So everything around us, even the iPad, right, existed as a idea, right? So I keep telling them, like, hey guys, you know, to be really useful to society in the future, you need to be able, number 1, have your own position and view of what a better world can be. If not, what's the point? What a better world can be. And also, how does that align with what you're good at? So I don't need you to be an engineer or artist, or these days, there should not be demarcation between this, because like Da Vinci, is he engineer? Is he artist? He's both, and he's awesome. Yes. So for me, Da Vinci is my idol. Because he's curious, like, how come the sky is blue? Then I invent some optical system, and that's how he invented lenses, for example, right? So I always try to tell them, like, hey guys, there's not one way to success. How do you want to apply yourself? How do you want to see the world? How do you, after you see already what you do with your observations, what are some key principles? And then how do you manifest it all the way down to how do you get funding for your startup if you want? Because business and finance is a huge, beautiful, magical machine that makes dreams into reality that impact millions. Yeah. You know? So I guess that's my job in a way, from the start, to handle ambiguity. Yeah. You know, jumping into the darkness, how to handle that. And we learned it over 13 weeks. So by the end, I'll be so happy when I say, like, hey guys, you see, remember week 1, unclear and how scared you were, and look at you now. Yeah. Isn't that awesome? So I always tell them, please put this in your pocket and use this not only for school, but throughout your life.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, whatever you shared, just really sticks, because in the end of the day, it's beyond just the curriculum, right? It's
Yes.
really about challenging and really, really challenging
Yes.
the students to find their space, but really push those boundaries.
I mean,
in
I got
thinking.
students who tell me like, hey, prof, I think I don't need to come to school anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
he's super smart. I love this student, and shout out if you're listening to this. So he bought a very expensive, to me expensive coffee machine. I think it's 4,000, 5,000. Those professional coffee machines,
Yep.
and grinder I mean, what professional science setup, if you Google it, is not cheap The grinder can be $1,003 and everything. So what he did, he bought it. Maybe he got some funding from his parents, sure. But he actually held classes during COVID on how to brew your own coffee and to make money to pay for itself, right? So once he had enough classes done, then the machine was paid for already.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, this kid is, big brains, and he's like 22, 21, 22, like that, right? So he asked me, hey, prof, like, in that context, he asked me, like, why don't you come to school? Because back then was crypto. It's like, I can make like
Yeah,
8K a month on crypto. Don't do it now, obviously, but that was the back situation. But I'm just saying that he was a very self-motivated, high agency kind of young man. So I told him, yeah, of course you can learn everything online. Even now in this current context, you can learn everything through ChatGPT.
Everything.
Right? So I do tell him, like, why school is important, because you get to be exposed to other points of view. Right, my point of view, other prof point of view, not only design prof, but not only archi prof, but also engine prof, a philosophy prof, humanities prof, right? From faculty point of view, but also your classmates, right? Maybe you meet someone who is not from the same socio-economical level as you, and you learn about yourself, you learn about others, about that diversity, and also your network and who you know, and like-mindedness can only happen when you're in a community, face-to-face learning kind of thing. And those are things that you want to have for yourself in your life experience. So that's why please stay in school. School is important. I mean, we could talk about how you want to springboard or kind of nurture whatever intensity that you want, and to do that. So I love the young people of today. I mean, at least from my exposure in SUTD, they're so fantastic.
Amazing.
I'm so in awe of them. Yeah, they teach me also. I teach to learn.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, right? I think as I also embark on running a lot of sessions for senior leaders and all that, it's never one way. It's never when you get the most out of each other when there is really an open space to really jam.
Correct.
We
jam.
Jam. Yeah, I use it a lot also. Like I look as someone running discussions or even teaching, for example, as an educator, you're like a jazz musician, We spoke a little bit about this that day. It was like, you just go there and then just really jam with them, and really create abstract pieces, but make it beautiful, and then, we make this happen.
I mean, enjoy the process, because like, I'm sure when the Beatles or like the Rolling Stones, when they're done with the final song cut into the master and then can sell into general population, that's great. But I think for them, must also don't forget that they also really enjoy themselves during the creation of it. So this is something that I try to always tell my students, I tell everyone, right? Enjoy the process, because the process is the thing that you remember, and the process is actually life.
Yes.
Right. So, and I told them, like, as long as your process is good or great, then your outcome will be great, right?
Yeah.
Right. So don't put the horse behind the carriage or the carriage in front of the horse. Yeah. Right. Process always sits in front of product. So it's about the criticality. Right. The other thing that I also want them to have also is point of view.
That's very important.
A point of view, because to repeat things that your idols say.
Yes.
Right. And we're all guilty of it. I mean, everyone is guilty of it. But I think moving forward, like, we need to get serious about how you bring something new to the table. And not to sound too heavy, because it could mean a job thing, but it can also mean just like your community, your tribe, your friends kind of level. So I think that kind of auto-orientates your life in a way that will become automatically meaningful. The more that you set it up, it's quite meaningful. Yeah. And that comes with a lot of understanding, like why the meaning of things.
Yes. Right.
So I always ask them, like, don't just take GPT wholesale. Like one of the greatest human strengths is questioning and critical thinking, and the prefrontal cortex, right? Yeah. So please use that, because I think when you use that, just by using it, your life will become a lot more stressful, yes, for sure, but also rather more rich, because then you begin to understand the world on your own terms, but also other people's terms, and you suddenly everything from black and white become colorized, become 4K, become 8K.
Totally.
That kind of thing, right? So always understand what's your take on things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point of view is critical.
It's critical.
Super critical. And
Absolutely.
then, I think whenever I speak with, when I was in the corporate space, when I interview people, even now, when I work with leaders and folks, the thing that I always never fail to ask is, what is your point of view? Because that really unlocks that you're able to contextualize whatever is happening in what I was sharing or what we were talking about.
Yeah, correct.
So what's your point of view? Tell me more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But also can show sometimes like the effect of questioning, like what's my point of view, like where do I stand, can also be quite stressful. So be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Like number one priority, take care of yourself first. Like airplane, put the mask over yourself before your next person. You must take care of yourself because a lot of people lean on you. I mean, you don't have to be anyone important to people to lean on you, but there is a point when you're unhealthy and festering that will affect the people around you. And I like to see less of that in the world. Like everyone should be responsible for themselves in a way, proof as people that can be depended on, and people that kind of inspire, whether explicitly or implicitly. And that kind of like colors every action, right? Like every Instagram story or TikTok video that you put out, right? So for me, Instagram is quite an interesting place to kind of push out these intentions and like people like, oh yeah, that's a nice way to think about life.
Yeah, totally. And we'll put down all the links to Hunn's socials in the comments below.
My socials are private, so if you're in it already, then good. We can definitely link up in real life.
I didn't even know you were private because I have you on. I didn't know it's private.
So I do curate who sees my thing.
Okay.
I do. Talking about curator, right?
Yeah.
I do curate my friend circle. If I want, like, there are 5 good friends in my life that affect who I am, right?
Yes.
Of course, my wife is one of them. So I got 4 slots only. So the 4 slots are very precious. Who is not deserving of that slot immediately gets, maybe not S tier anymore. Maybe I should need to push to the A tier or the B plus tier already. And every time I did that, an S tier person steps in. Even better. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's like the universe. Oh, now you got space, and I give you better, lor.
Yeah. No, you're the way you think is just very, very interesting. Yeah,
it's quite a gaming thing because like when you're a gamer, then when you go for a mission, you only got maybe like 5 slots for weapons or that kind of thing. Like resources are limited. So please let your children's gaming. I mean, not all kinds of game, which is not the addictive kind of scrolling game that is just mindless pressing of buttons kind of thing. Can you see my hand? Yeah, pressing a button. I think that's a bit mindless. It should be mindless. It should be more like resource management, planning missions, being able to deal with failure, gaming, role-playing game. Yeah,
totally. I used to play a lot of Warcraft and all that last time. I don't know if that's considered a good game or a bad game, but I just really enjoyed it.
No, for sure, it's a great game. Yeah. Resource management and planning and
building the cities and
tribing,
doing all that stuff.
Yeah, communication.
Totally, man. So I just wanted to ask you, like, as kind of, we're looking at the timing now, kind of in the last bits of the segment here, looking in the future, that's kind of casting ahead, right? Looking in the future of where we are headed. You work with a lot of designers, with students, a lot of individuals, and kind of about the topic of AI and creativity and how that might shift way things are working, right? What's your perspective and how should we prepare the next generation of, I suppose, designers maybe, someone who's in that space, and how would you prepare them for this new world that we're going to be entering? And how would that shift the fundamentals of creativity? What are your thoughts around that space?
No, that's a great question. I have many thoughts around that because I do teach and I have seen technology affect students and my work over the past 14 years. I mean, just think about 2010. Yeah. Where was Facebook? Right? Facebook just started maybe, I want to say 10 years, something like that. It started in 2001, right? For like college students in Ivy League. Like what was Instagram in 2010? What was TikTok in 2000? What was YouTube and the economics around YouTube mix around that? Even like podcasts didn't exist. Yeah. I mean, it did, but not in this current shape and form, right? Yeah. So I think the number one thing to think about is that technology is a tool. It's always been tools. Last time, no fire, then got fire, then cooked meat, then suddenly the human brain can grow, and then suddenly from this monkey become, at some point, Homo sapiens. Yeah. Right? Technology just bring immense value to humans. So I try to kind of help myself understand that. Also helps to understand like technology is not a bad thing. It's neutral. Yeah. Right? But what you do with it amplifies. And now, in this day and age, it really amplifies at like scales of of N. I'm not sure where it's all going because we don't know the side effects of Facebook yet. We don't know the side effects of social media. But we don't know the side effects of all these things because they're quite new, right? Maybe now we're getting some side effects and more conscious parenting. A lot of topics about self-awareness. So it's a tool. It's definitely a tool. And I would encourage everyone to go and read this book in the show notes or here. Yeah. It's a book about analog thinking and computational thinking. It's written by, I can't remember, a very, very successful and prominent technologist and futurist. So it really tells, let's set the context on how I think about AI, right? It's like our brain, although more powerful than the most powerful supercomputer in the world, right? This the by amount of neurons and density, we cannot think at that level because our throughput hasn't matched up to computers yet. So maybe just read that just to understand like how our relationship and how humanity has shifted through the evolution of computational power. Many good things, but also good to be aware on how that's affecting you as a human being and your behaviors and our relationship with it. Go and read that book. That's one. That's why I find AI so important now in the sense that it can help us again to regain some control of that computational overload that we're currently experiencing. I mean, who needs to answer 10,000 emails a day? Like, who needs to answer 10,000 messages a day? I mean, these are all because of the great evolution, not complaining about it, but also we need to be mindful that suddenly notifications are crazy.
Yes.
Right? They're taking away our precious attention, and time is the only thing. Attention, actually not time is the currency. Attention is the currency of life, right? Yeah. So it's taking away our most precious resource, which is attention. Yeah. So therefore, in my head, I would like AI to solve that. Yeah. To do all those things, like speak on my behalf. I can't wait for Hunn Wai. My last name already not bad already. WAI, right? So WAI, right? So the AI bag can be a Hunn Wai agent, like agentic kind of, right? And then I can license out myself to teach whatever, right? Yeah. And then I only come in at points where they need face-to-face. Isn't that nice? Right? So then we became again more intentional in how we use attention and our skill sets to bring the impact that we want. So for example, like teaching, a lot of things can be done with AI. Yes. And maybe I only come in at the last half an hour to like, okay, any questions? Then the real Hunn Wai with all the machine learning is here. Yeah, correct. Right? Then I maybe have some kind of screen where it tells me like, these are all the questions that populated and this in a way you should kind of answer them. There's a student behind that needs a bit more attention. Wouldn't that be nice?
Very cool.
Wouldn't that be nice? So a lot of things that are kind of implicit or unseen right now because of the way that we use AI and technology can actually help to make, in this case, teaching so much more effective and learning so much more effective. Yeah. Maybe at the end of the day, I get things that Prof taught me because students have so much loading on like deadline and timelines. So for me, I would like AI to be like a life partner, like an existence partner in some sense, right? So that's how I would like AI to move towards, and I also try to understand it myself. Yeah. With regards to like intellectual property and how it scripts the internet to generate what we are enjoying now in terms of memes and songs by Drake, but sung in the style of Celine Dion. Right? I mean, that's great and fun. I think we will look back at these days quite fondly, just like how we look back at Facebook poking quite fondly, or like the first YouTube videos quite fondly. Yes. Right? So this is a moment right now, but I think we're kind of feeling around, and we also need to think about how technology has affected us, right? Maybe we don't think about it too often. Yeah. But think about like pre-WhatsApp days, and then maybe try to map ahead as to how you think AI. I mean, go and learn about it, right? I mean, there's so many courses online, and just go and get. I mean, Skills Future, shout out. Go and learn about it and familiar yourself. And again, what does it mean to you? That's number two. And then finally, number three, right? I think we are living in quite fortunate bubble. Let's put it
totally.
Let's put it plainly, right? Like this is not normal. Like in aircon, with lights, with this nice camera, getting to do this on a nice weekend afternoon thing, talking to you and your beautiful face and your beautiful voice and beautiful mind. It's not normal, right? So at least think about like how you have everything that you have, or like why you have everything that you have, and because sometimes, in my opinion, AI thrives on algorithm. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Like even now, before AI, it can already serve you ads that you clicked on, and then it keeps appearing on your feed. I mean, that is like primary school stuff when AI really comes in, right? Yeah. So imagine a hyper version of that. Like maybe it's listening to me right now. Right? I mean, things like that, right? Like, so what you don't want is to be played by algo. What you don't want is to be led by the nose by algorithm, right? Is to be an aware human being. Am I recommendation and prescription for that is to know how things are made, how this food is made.
Yeah.
Then you would know that, hey, this thing served to me is a bit unreal. Ask the question, what's the real value? So that's my lifelong inner question. Like, what's the real value of everything? Policies, food, fashion, music. I can also appreciate when something is incredibly well scaled, like McDonald's. I appreciate to the max. I appreciate IKEA. I appreciate Muji because it's such an industrial craft, right? But I also appreciate like that guy living in a mountain making washi paper. So I think we must not have disconnect from human, not only humans, but also non-humans. Yeah. I'm not saying ghosts lah, but I'm saying like animals. I'm saying zombies also lah. Animals, like think about our impact, our connection to like non-human stakeholders. Go and learn about your impact on nature so that we don't become too comfortable and actually complicit to the fact of just insta-buy on Taobao kind of thing. Like that's, I think, a huge problem. And I think AI will definitely supercharge that. Yeah. And I think one way to make your consumer decisions, right? And everything looks nice on a nice number sheet, right? Which I think is not the complete picture when thinking about innovation and impact. Yeah. I would like for people to be more aware of is like, please go and learn go and cook, like even simple things like cook your own meals, buy your own groceries, right? Then immediately you're laying down a path like, oh wow, I wonder how this beef is made, that kind of thing. And like, oh wow, I need to be more responsible. I shouldn't just throw away food like that because it's so much effort. And I think that's when we begin to become more responsible citizens, responsible consumers, responsible innovators, responsible contributors to economics, and more responsible humans.
Yeah, love it, man. Oh, that was a very powerful kind of sharing, because the way I look at it also is like, if you look at everything that you see, it's a craft. It's beautiful. There's intent behind it. Go understand the idea of why was this even raised, and then therefore this came up, this is all happening. Just that curiosity and that thinking.
Visit a museum. One of my favorite museums is the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. In Singapore, we have the Peranakan Museum. We got Asian Civilization Museum, right? When you go there, you learn like, oh wow, like Asia was like this. Wow, so much effort to grow the rice. Like go and learn these things, because imagine that you're taking all these things for granted because everything you get through your app delivery. Good for you, but I think to be responsible, and it also links back to like what's enough, and you appreciate things more. You see life and taste life in 4K, 8K resolution versus 240p. Yeah, and you don't know why at your deathbed also it's like, life like that. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know, it's fine lah. But I think in this age, not knowing that you don't know, or knowing that you don't know and not doing something about it is irresponsible.
Yes, yeah, so powerful. That was a very good one. I mean, we got to come up with Hunn's book of quotes, right? I have one more question for you, but I just want, before we go to the last question, I just want to say a big thank you, man. Like, you have been very open, and in terms of just sharing your story, like this is like getting to know the deeper you. Besides the stuff that we read on newspapers or magazines and all that, like you told your childhood story, and I actually never knew that story also.
And now you know.
And now we know. But thank you, and I think it's and that's what we love, and that's the intent of why we have this platform also, just to really tell real stories, not like scripted stuff, And I want to say big thank you for that. And I think there's a lot of powerful sharing that you shared in terms of concepts, in terms of the thinking, the perspectives, the different lenses, and it's great. So I just say thanks for that, man. But one question that I have before we kind of wrap up. What's up and coming for you actually in the next maybe 3-6 months or a year, or whatever you feel that it's going to be worth sharing in the near future or the longer term future?
I have two things going on with my life right now that's keeping me occupied in the most meaningful way. Number one is that we've got commissioned by the Japanese government to look at the iconic crafts of Japan. In a nutshell, population of Japan is shrinking, and a number of younger talents to take over the craft is diminishing. Right. So we got commissioned by Japanese government to work with a Japanese craftsman. There are 6 studios. We chose, my partner and I, Francesca, who's based in Milan. We chose washi paper. Yeah. And the project is called Craft times Tech. Craft times Tech. Right. So it's a nice throwback to what we're talking about, like tech and AI and all that. Yeah. And now we've got this super iconic craft thing called washi paper, like the OG paper. So get to work with that, and outcomes will be out next year. Okay. And we'll be looking at things like how to inspire future generations to relook at washi paper as a craft, but also to creatives to relook at its applications, and how to get people interested to just go and visit the lovely village called Gifu, Gifu, Gifu in Nagoya in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's such an honor to be at this age of senior creative to be able to do that. And also again making space and appreciating, and it means a lot to myself and my partner.
Very nice.
Been together for 14 years, so that's number one. So look out for it next year.
Okay.
And then second one is closer. It's in 12 weeks from today. It's the Future Impact 3 Design Nation Homecoming Show. So we had the show in Milan in April. And in September 9th, the show will open at the National Museum of Singapore. Because this year is also SG60, right? Yeah. And I'm the first Singapore co-creator in the third year of this exhibition for the Milan Design Week, which is the biggest design show in the world, representing Singapore innovation ideas and how we look at the world moving forward in terms of sustainability, in terms of circular economy, in terms of regenerative design, in terms of looking after the elderly, so on and so forth. This will be coming back to Singapore in September. I would like to invite everyone to come to really appreciate how I framed it, because Singapore by right not supposed to exist. You think about it, and everything is by design. So actually, politicians are designers, right? In the exhibition where you relook at HDB is by design, TTC voucher is by design, COE, CPF, all by design, SQ, uniform, Sound Kabaya is also by design. Malayan also by design, courtesy campaign also by design, New Water also by design. So these are how I frame it for the 60 years, but also there'll be young graduates that you can be excited about how they see the future, because they're like 20 something and they see the world completely different from me, and they're basically the beneficiaries of the golden age of Singapore, right? And how they inject pragmatism with soulfulness, and how they look at like dumpster diving as a craft. What's that about? Or using oyster mushrooms to filter air, like your home air purifier. What's that about, right? So, or how using AI to generate batik patterns that represent the makeup of our culture, because we don't have that at the moment. We have Peranakan clothing patterns, we have Indian clothing patterns, but then we don't really have one that is Singaporean. And I think it's a very beautiful use of this designer, young designer, Nazura. She had to train her own models because the models online were all quite Western biased, and she had to go through the effort of going to all our archives, documenting everything, meta tagging everything, to train her own models of like Chinese, Malay, Indian, Peranakan, all the various cultures that live in Singapore, so that you can just press a button, generate like something that speaks of our culture. So I mean, all these kind of very deep thinking work that is being pushed by young designers in September for our own students, our own people to see like, wow, let's get going with all these amazing breadcrumbs and sparks and do something for myself. Yeah.
Totally, man. We're definitely looking forward to that. For someone with your background and amazing stories of design, kind of reinventing, going across different places, countries. So what would be one concept that you feel would be the most important for everyone to take away? It's really open.
I think this classical question that I hear a lot being asked on podcasts, right? Like I think it was Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, Tim Ferriss.
Who said it. He said if you had a billboard in a city, right, and you could have any message onto it for everyone else to see, what would it be, right? So it would just be 3 short phrases: be curious, be brave, be the light.
Thank you. So with that, thanks Hunn for being here. We are going to have a few more upcoming guests that are going to be super cool, telling their reinvention stories to all of you. So with that, tune in again, and we'll catch you real soon. Thanks.